Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors, Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street. Dine in or take it out, 317-773-4444. Our friends at Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, Bill Clifford for Sheriff, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. Our first guest tonight is Noblesville head coach Jason Simmons. Jason got off to a little bit of a late start up at Hamilton Heights the other night, but once the whistle blew, the Millers came out like a house on fire.
Yeah, I felt like our kids handled that weather delay really well. You know, we got settled in. You know, our coaches took their own individual position groups. We got them out of their shoulder pads, and really we just kind of sat around and kept them in our position groups just so conversation could happen as needed. But I felt like the leadership in our program and our assistants did a really nice job handling the delay. Our kids came out of the locker room ready to go, and part of it was hot in that building.
Yes.
They were ready to get outside and get out where the air was moving a little bit, but I think they were excited about the opportunity to go compete.
I'd never remember in my lifetime a warmer September than we've had this year. And just, you know, as a side note, I went out to Greencastle on Saturday and watched my grandson's varsity soccer match out at Greencastle High School, and I sat there, and the biggest mistake, I didn't bring an umbrella to get myself out of the sun. It was hot. How did the heat affect the team?
I think for our kids, we did a lot to manage them Wednesday, Thursday. You know, Wednesday we went to Hare and practiced on the turf, and you know, we made sure our kids stayed hydrated. Thursday we practiced on our practice field, got ahead of schedule, stayed ahead of schedule. You know, usually we get ahead of schedule, we may add a rep here or there, and for us it was all about getting the work in that we felt like we needed to get in and getting our kids out of the heat. You know, our hottest two practices, Wednesday and Thursday, those were our hottest two practices of the year, and you don't anticipate that late in September. I felt like our kids conditioning-wise held up okay. We managed those handful of guys that played both ways for us. Thankfully we were in a position to do that, but you know, I felt like our kids handled the heat well, and especially as that game got going Friday.
Well, let's talk a little bit more specific, a little more detail about the game. Even scoring throughout the game, even after you go into the second half and basically clear the bench, but first quarter you had to be very, very happy with the work of Grant Gremmel and Jaden Barrett.
Yeah, you know, Jaden has really come on. You know, he's a young man that, you know, he's a little guy, but you watch him, he's shifty. He can find holes. He can get himself open. He's got deceptive speed. Plus, we felt like we could get him on a good matchup versus their man coverage, and we were able to do that early. Grant and Jaden both delivered. You know, Grant got loose with his legs in the run game and made some huge plays. Really, when you look at when we've had success as a football team, and you go back to the Westfield game offensively, and you go back to Friday night against Heights, we've scored early and generated that momentum. And you know, I think there's a lesson for us to learn from that. We got to find ways to manufacture good drives and score points early in the game, and that really got our football team rolling.
Well, it's kind of odd, and I don't mean that I mean in kind of an ironic way. Is every week when we look down at the stats, leading rusher for the team is Grant Gremmel.
You know, it is, and he's made plays that are designed for him in the run game, and he's also handled space getting out of the pocket. And you know, I think that speaks to his growth. You look early in the year when he got flushed from the pocket, he got rattled a little bit, didn't make the plays that he's making now, and I think that shows his growth as a football player and as a quarterback. For him to be able to make those plays when the play itself breaks down or he gets flushed from the pocket.
Of course, he had 61 yards all in one play, but six carries for 146 yards. And even if you took the 60 yards off of there that he had on the one play, that's still a 90-yard night
for him.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. Luke Blevins had a good night too.
Luke Blevins had a good night. We tried to limit his work early. He was nicked up early in the week, so we tried to pace his carries a little bit, and then you get into the flow of the game, and that was our plan. But you know, he still ended up with 16 carries and ran the ball well for us. He and Grant both did a nice job complementing each other in the run game on Friday.
Well, the official tally was 12 for 22, I believe, for Gremmel for 203 yards. That's a pretty decent night.
You know, we hit some chunk plays. We hit a seam route to Jaden early in the game that got us a score, and then turned around and hit one late in the first half to Zach Groover. That the post route to Zach, in the third quarter. Really, we had 3 big chunk plays in the passing game. 2 of them to Jaden and 1 of them to Zach Groover, and both those guys won their matchups and did a nice job with them.
Almost 475 yards in total offense. That's got to make you happy.
Well, you know, I think what it does is it speaks to us being able to spread the football around to a lot of different people. Teams can't just defend one kid. It also speaks to the work that our offensive line's doing. It's easy to say that, you know, when you look at Hamilton Heights on film and you say, well, it's Hamilton Heights, Noblesville, you guys got to do okay. You know, Coach Street has a really good offensive and defensive line.
Yes.
He has a veteran-laden group up there. They're big physical kids. And I thought our offensive line was able to neutralize some of that and allow us to move the football like we did.
I was surprised, to be quite frank with you, that they didn't score. I thought they probably would have an opportunity to score, but your defense just basically shut them down, period.
I thought we did a better job getting aligned. That allowed us to play better. And, you know, the 2 things that we did better, Brad, that we needed to do was we got lined up, for 1, and 2, I thought fundamentally we were better. Heights did some really good things schematically that unless you watch the film and really dig into it, you may not pick up on or notice. But there were some holes there that we got to continue to grow and clean up. But we got aligned better and we played with better fundamentals, and I think that showed up in the total yards and our ability to get some stops early.
6 touchdowns and 1 field goal in the game. And the thing that stood out to me on the touchdowns, Coach, of the 6 touchdowns, 5 different people scored.
5 different people scored, which I think it speaks to the balance that we've created with our offensive unit, and that Caleb Small, being our offense coordinator, has done a great job of spreading the wealth and identifying matchups that we can go win. I think it speaks to Grant's development, being able to read coverage and to get the ball to the right guy at the right time. And it just speaks to the selfless nature of our kids. You know, we're playing a group of skill kids right now that really doesn't care who gets the credit. You know, they just want to go. They want to go play ball and have fun and make plays, and that's what they're doing right now.
Let's talk just a little bit about the second half. We saw a lot of faces out in the field that we'd either seen very little or none of out there, and certainly with a large lead like you had at halftime, that gave you the opportunity to get some people in, get them some experience, get them some playing time.
Yeah, you know, the group of people that we really want to take care of in a situation like that, because we haven't been in a lot of those games where we've been able to clear the bench and play everybody, whether we're on the good side of the scoreboard or the bad. But you know, there's always a group of kids that works real hard in practice that earns the shot to play too. And yeah, we have JV games, but there's something different about playing on Friday night as opposed to Saturday morning. And you know, we were able to get every kid in that we dressed, which was important to me personally, because those kids work hard in practice too.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to read their names in front of their peers. It's another thing to get them a taste of that Friday night action. And for us, I think it's important when you build a program and build lineage. You know, the first time a kid steps out on the field on Friday night isn't going to be their first varsity game a year from now. And so, you know, I think that's important too.
Well, it's exciting for the kids too to get the opportunity to get in there and,
no question.
and you know, not only play in a varsity game, but the atmosphere in you know, of the games that I've seen you guys in this year, whether you're at home or on the road, it's a great atmosphere on Friday night in north central Indiana.
No question. You play in Hamilton County, you're going to have a great following, and you're going to have great fan support. And Friday night was no exception for us. You know, the group that we haven't talked about, Brad, that I thought, you know, I think that deserves some recognition is our special teams units. You know, you look at the work Grant Christie and Andy Cleverly are doing it as snappers. Chase Evans and Jack Knight. You know, Jack hit a 45-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Friday, second straight week, he's gone for 45 or longer in the kicking game, and both of them did a nice job. You know, we flipped duties in the second half. Chase handled the place kicking, and Jack handled the punting, and it was an opportunity for those guys to continue to get some work in the other set of skills that they have. And so, you know, our special teams groups have been solid for us all year. Friday night was again another good performance by that group.
I can't remember how many times Hamilton Heights actually did get across the midfield stripe, but it wasn't very often, and I thought it was for 2 specific reasons. Number one, when you guys did give up the ball, your punting game was very, very good, very effective, and number two, the defense just pinned them in.
Pinned them in. You know, Jack had 3 touchbacks on the night. We had 2 punts inside the 20. Those are the difference-making, game-changing plays that you're talking about. That you force an offense to go the long field on you. Your defense, has a little more juice about it. And really, I thought our kids dug in and did a nice job of winning. Not only winning first down, which was a huge priority for us going into the game because we have not been very good on first down, but we also won third down and got off the field. And we tried to make Hamilton Heights one-dimensional and force them to throw the football, and we had some success doing that.
Next week, still on the road, going down to Fishers to see Scott May and Hamilton Southeastern.
Going to have our hands full. You turn the game film on, and it's one thing to look at the score and say, they lost a tough one to Zionsville. You turn the game film on, and they really hurt themselves. Those aren't things that Scott May, teams that are coached by that staff do very often. They don't turn the ball over very often. They don't shoot themselves in the foot very often. So we're not anticipating those favors in any way, shape, or form. But they were in a tighter game than probably what the score indicates. They had a couple of red zone turnovers. The sophomore Q is starting to play really well for them, starting to get a feel for things in the passing game. They have good skill kids on the perimeter, big offensive linemen up front, and you watch that defense. That defense can be as stingy as there is in our league, and they're starting to play that way, and so we're going to have our hands full. That's for sure.
I just take a look at the HCC overall and look at the records here, and unless somebody knew the history of this conference, they'd sit there and they'd say, well, here's your team at 1-5, Hamilton Southeastern at 2-4, but they're still good football teams, top to bottom, in that conference. It's a great conference.
No question, it absolutely is. And I think what you're going to get, you get tested week in and week out in our conference, and somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, and we're gonna load up and go compete.
Well, good luck this Friday night against the Royals. That's Miller's head coach, Jason Simmons. We'll be back with more of the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show after these words from our sponsors.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street signs and banners conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. Our other sponsors include Greek's Pizza, the official pizza provider for the Coaches Show on South 10th Street here in Noblesville. Dine in, or you can take it out, or you can call in ahead of time at 317-773-4444. Other sponsors include Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, Bill Clifford for Sheriff, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. We're joined by Coach Rick Wimmer with the Fishers Tigers. Coach, a huge victory Friday night. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brad. It was a big victory for us. I don't know that we've had too many in our history at Fishers that have been as big as that one. Avon is a very good team. A lot of respect for them, their style of play, their coaches, the way they play, and they've got some tremendous talent. We put together a good game. As a total team win. Our defense, after a rough start, settled down and limited their big plays, and that was really critical because they are a big play team. And then offensively, although we had some 3 and outs, we also had some good drives that finished in the end zone. We got 2. Our kicking game was very solid, so it was a good team win.
I would call it a great team win, and in that I've seen the Orioles a couple times this season, and they are a good, solid football team. But I've also seen your guys, through the years, and it's kind of like the old saying in the NFL. Only we'll change it to Friday night on any given Friday night, especially in Hamilton County, in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. Anybody can beat anybody. Couple big pass plays in this game that really made a big difference for you guys. One, Will Cyrus and Colin Stats.
Yeah. Will caught a 75-yard touchdown from Matt Wolf in the first half on a sprint out. I mean, it was a beautiful pass. We had a flood route, and really the way that progression goes, we take a quick peek at the deep route on the outside, but not really expecting to throw that. Really, the read is the two out routes on different levels. But they had those covered, and Will got a step on the corner, and Matt laid it out there on the dead run, just a beautiful throw, and Will took it the distance for 75 yards. And then Matt played the first half of the game, and then suffered an injury late in the first half. John came in, John Vore. Both of them have started games for us this year. We've played with both quarterbacks. But Matt was going to play the game. John did not practice this week until Wednesday. Had a bit of an injury against Brownsburg, nothing serious, but wasn't able to practice till Wednesday. But I didn't really give John a lot of reps because it was late in the week, and Matt was prepared, and John got a few reps. He really entered the game as a backup. I really wasn't planning on using them equally. But he was ready to go if he needed to be, and we talked about that today with our players about always being prepared, even if you don't think you're going to play. I thought John was prepared. He prepared like he was going to play the whole game, and he came in the second half, and we didn't miss a beat offensively. So it does change our game plan a little bit when depending upon the two quarterbacks, but. They both executed, and the team executed well. And John hit the game winner to Stotts, the pass you're talking about, late in the game, about a minute and a half to go in the game. It was a third down. We're really just trying to get the ball in field goal range and or a little better field goal range. We were probably in range for a deep field goal, but we wanted to try to get a little bit closer. Didn't feel like we were going to get much with a run. We needed to throw it, really the route that we talked about, the combination we talked about, Stotts really wasn't the guy we were talking about going to. It was a route that we'd run earlier on the drive, and it was going to be one of either Dunnick in the flat or Cyrus on a deep end route. But they kind of just the safety kind of jumped the deep end unexpectedly, and Colin was left open in the middle of the field, and so John saw it and hit it. So and that was a huge score for us late.
Weather had to be a factor last week. Not only for the game because it was so warm, but also for practice. How do you guys handle this late? At this point in the season, you would think that by the time practice comes around at 3:30 or 4 o'clock, well, might be in the 70s, might be close to 80, but 90 degrees every day.
Yeah,
during practice.
it was a challenge last week because it was very hot. I thought our kids handled it very well. Remember the week before we came off a really an embarrassing loss, not because the team we lost to was an embarrassment to lose to. Brownsburg's a very good team, and they beat us badly, and so that was what was. I didn't feel like we competed very well. Our seniors had a player-only meeting on Monday before practice. They wanted to have a meeting, and I think we have not had great practices all year. Last week was different, and it was really a challenge for them because it was very hot, but I thought our guys were extremely focused in practice. I thought we went much harder than we have been, and I think that's the challenge going forward. I mean, if you have to practice with some intensity and some focus and some enthusiasm, and if we do that, I think we can continue to improve and sharpen our game. But you can't just go out and go through the motions and expect to play on Friday.
Halftime, you're down, was 22-20. What did you tell the team at halftime?
Well, we were actually had a lead at about with a minute to go, less than a minute to go in the halftime. We scored to go up 20-15, I believe, and we kick off to them, and they get the ball in the 20. Ben kicks it to the end zone, and 40 seconds left. They're just going to run a play, see if they can get it out, and maybe go into try to throw a ball downfield. But if we stop them, they're going to take a knee, I would think. But they hand it to Guerrero who's one of their many fast kids, but he is the fastest, and we miss him on a tackle, and then just don't get enough people there to him to bring him down, and he goes 80 yards for a touchdown, one play into their drive. So we go in at halftime a little bit on the downside after being ahead 20-15, then they score to make it 22-20. But I think what we just talked about playing hard, and really at that point in the game we had given up too many big plays on defense. And that's been a struggle for us all year is big plays. We played pretty good defense in a lot of ways, but big plays have been a problem. And Avon is a tough team to keep them from getting big plays on you. So it's a tall order not to give them any, but you got to limit their big plays. And I thought we did that second half. I think we only gave up one big play in the second half, and with that big play they ended up with a field goal. But we held them to two field goals in the second half, played much better, I thought, defensively. And then we continued to move the ball offensively. We did have a few 3-and-outs because they're a good football team, and it's tough not to. But we didn't turn the ball over at all in the entire game. And we were able to mount some drives and finish drives in the end zone. And we came up with some big plays ourselves. We talked about a couple of them. We were able to possess the ball and not turn it over, and that was critical as well as the improvement of our defense.
Well, Friday night, another home game, two back-to-back home games, but it certainly doesn't get any easier with Ron Colley coming to visit.
Ron Colley is an outstanding football team and ranked number 1 in 5A, certainly deserving of that ranking, I think. They have won 21 games in a row, I believe. They are a good football team.
They're on a
very,
roll,
very comparable
no
to the better teams that we've seen on our schedule this year. And so they're a physical team. I think have good speed, maybe not quite the speed that a team like Avon has, but they have good speed that can hurt you. They got a receiver, number 11, who looks to be very fast, couple DBs that have good speed, and they're a physical team, very disciplined, well-balanced team, so a quarterback that can create problems for you running and passing. So It's going to be a game we're going to have to play very well to have a chance to win this one as well.
Well, congratulations on a great victory against Avon, and good luck Friday night against Indianapolis Roncalli. That's Coach Rick Wimmer from the Fishers Tigers. We'll be back with more after this. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Oh, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street Signs and Banners, conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
Show presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors, Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street here in Noblesville, the official pizza of the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show. If you want to dine in, you can do so on South 10th Street. You can also call ahead and order at 317-773-4444. Our other sponsors include Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, Bill Clifford for Sheriff, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. Coach, kind of a tough night Friday night in the Eagles' Nest.
Yeah, we were soundly beaten, and all the credit to Bishop Chittard. Played a nice game and got off to a fast start, and we didn't. And we didn't play our best game, but we're ready to move on.
Keys for the game
for last week?
Yes.
I thought that we didn't play particularly well in the trenches, or they did, one of the two, and we didn't win the battle up front, and I think that led to a lot of the other problems that kind of came about that. But it's a team game, obviously, and everybody needs to pick it up this week.
Now, all of the coaches who come in here, I know you guys always like to try to find some positives, even in an unfortunate loss like you suffered on Friday. What were you able to bring anything good away from this game?
I thought our kids played hard all the way through. I mean, we had mistakes on offense, defense, special teams, and the whole 9 yards. But I think since the game they've responded positively. We told them after the game that this could be a lot more productive evening based on depending on how we react to it, than even some of the lopsided wins we had a few weeks before. One of the great things about playing a great program like Bishop Chittard is you know exactly where you stand when that game's over. So I think we had some things that they brought to light that we now can get to work on.
Well, I compare Guerin with the other, with all the other schools in Hamilton County, Coach, and first of all, your conference is a tough one. You've got some great teams in there. Your non-conference schedule, probably not the toughest schedule you ever had in your career, but you've got some good competition in there. And we look at these games every week, and as Perry and Jim are going through things and saying, okay, what's a good matchup here? We always come out with within our criteria with several great games here, just in Hamilton County alone, and you guys are always right up there with with playing some of the best teams.
Sure, and we're proud of our kids and what we've done over the last few games, couple of years, whatever. But it really doesn't matter now. We're just glad to have some things that we know we can get better at, and we obviously knew that before, but it brings it to consciousness a little bit better. You get the kids' attention a little bit when some deficiencies are maybe exploited a little bit. We got some work to do.
Well, I think this of course is just my personal opinion. I think the nucleus is there, and the base is there, and it's probably just maybe a little tweak of things here, a little change here and there, and that of course as a coach, as you've been for many years, that's your biggest challenge, to figure out how to take a particular group of kids and mold them into a team.
Sure, and one of the biggest things we're not going to do is change what we do. We're just going to do it better. I mean, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to get better at what we do, and we started on that today. Had a good day of practice, and we're looking forward to working tomorrow.
You think the weather hurt you guys at all? Did the hot weather?
I think it was just as warm for them, but they had a few more bodies on their sideline, but no, I don't think that's a direct contributing factor.
It felt like it was more like opening day of practice, with hot August weather rather than toward the end of September.
It's one of those things you can't control, so you can't worry about it, but you have to do your best to try to manage it. And I don't think any of us are disappointed that the weather should break about midweek this week.
By Friday, it's supposed to be in the 60s.
But whatever it is whatever it's going to be. So
I know I'm kind of looking forward to it.
I'm not going to complain.
How's the health of the team this week? Any changes there?
Okay. No, we're about the same. You get into week 7 of any season, you're always going to have some bumps and bruises and some guys nursing some things and maybe out for a week or two and have to shuffle some guys back around and special teams and all that kind of stuff. I think everybody's probably in that boat, but we're as healthy as as we have been all week.
Coming up Friday night, another big game for you guys, Brebeuf.
Yeah, actually a Saturday night game.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. I wrote that down because I was looking for information on it. I thought I don't see anything here on a game this weekend for Guerin, and then I thought, now wait a second, I think that said the 30th.
Yeah, so it'll be a Saturday, and it's still a night game, and we're looking forward to going down there to 86th Street and visit the Braves. They've got a good team. Coach Ressler's done a very good job with those guys, and they're always tough, and they return a lot of experience, and always a physical game.
Anything to specifically look forward to expect from them?
Well, they have some explosion to them in offense, and they've kind of spread out their attack a little bit and can hit a home run from anywhere. Defensively, they've always been stingy, and they have some good stout kids, and they have talent in all 3 levels of their defense, and it's going to be a challenge to get to them and block them and just keep them blocked.
Why any specific reason for the Saturday night game, or?
I'm not entirely certain, so okay. I don't want to necessarily speculate.
Oh, I just wonder if there was some other special event or something going on.
I don't believe so.
It's normally I know I've seen games down at Lucas Oil and that on Saturdays before, but normally don't see them on Saturday. Mm-hmm. That's Coach Tom Dilley from Guerin Catholic, the head man of the Golden Eagles. Coach, thank you for joining us, and good luck this weekend against Brebeuf.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back on the Hamilton County Coaches Show after these words from our sponsors.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street Signs and Banners, conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
The Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show on Hamilton County Television, brought to you by Logan Street Signs and Banners. We're joined now by Sheridan head coach Bud Wright. Coach, every week it seems like I'm saying the same thing to you. Another huge victory. This time by 49 points over Taylor. It's 64-13.
Yeah, we thought Taylor would be a little bit better. They looked a little bit better in films. They did have speed, we knew that. But after we got there, they weren't near as big as they looked on film. And they weren't quite as athletic. But like I said, the thing they had going for them was they did have some speed, but they just couldn't get going.
You guys just came out of the gate there and just totally controlled and dominated the game. They did score in the first and last quarter, but other than that, you shut them down.
Yeah, we went down and scored. Actually, we had a slow start to get things going. They played different defense than what we practiced for, and we had to make a couple adjustments, and then we got rolling. But yeah, we scored, and they come right back and scored. In fact, they only had 2 first downs all night long, and both of them came on that scoring drive. They had a long 53-yard run, and then they threw a 45-yard pass for the touchdown. So they went about 92 yards or something, I think, all total. And actually, that run, 53 yards, was more than that one run that they had rushing for the full rest of the night. For the night, they only had like 47 yards with their minus yardage. So after that, we sort of shut them down. And in the fourth quarter, we had the reserves in, and reserves had a bad snap over the quarterback's head, and they picked up with 75 yards for a touchdown. That gave them their second score. We did not play the varsity after the first half. And we played a running clock the whole second half. Actually, we kicked off with the varsity and played 3 downs, and that was it. The reserve played the whole second half then.
Well, 57 points in the first half alone is just, I mean, that's amazing. That's that's telling me that everything went right for the Blackhawks, and poor Taylor couldn't have any. The ball just didn't bounce for them, period.
Yeah, that's about the way it went. They just couldn't get anything going, and in fact, one of their kids asked one of our kids, in the trenches, one of their defensive tackles asked our kid. He said, "What can I do to get on your team?" So we thought that was kind of funny, but it was. As far as the kids are concerned, was one of the fun ball games, and you know, but really it doesn't do that much good. Now we got to come back against a real good Tipton team, and we got to get our focus a lot better. So we'll go from there, I guess.
Let's just, obviously there's not a lot of defense to talk about here, but let's just talk about the offense. Who stars of the game on the offensive side for the Blackhawks?
Well, Drake Delph did a pretty good job, I thought, running the offense and controlling things. And he was 6 out of 10 for 117 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. And then he ran the option pretty good as far as running it. We didn't run it very often, but he did a nice job of running the option. And of course, Joe Callahan had 14 carries for 126 yards. He had his, you know, good normal night, and that carried things over. But actually, about everything we did click. So the whole offense, the offensive line and defensive line just dominated their offensive and defensive lines, and that was a key.
I got almost 490 total yards for the game.
Right.
And of which 366 came on the ground, 117 by passing, 6 for 10 passing. It was just offensively a great night for the Blackhawks.
Right, and like I say, they had a running clock. They didn't even stop the clock when the ball went out of bounds. You know, and so, I mean, we'd have really racked up big yards. I mean, even the reserves were marching and stuff, doing things. But you know, you don't want to. You can't. You just gotta roll with it, and you know, you gotta not score. I mean, you just. And we, like I say, we put the reserves in, trying to hold the score down some, and it worked.
Let's talk about the defensive players of the game. Obviously, defensively, they did very well, limiting Taylor to 13 points, of which 6 came on a turnover.
Defensively, Ian Pence played a heck of a ball game for us in the interior line, defensive line. And then the 2 defensive ends, Joe Callahan and Tanner Swindle, played really a top-notch game. Linebackers, Cole Cummings missed the ball game because of an injury, and we inserted Jimmy Manis in his place, an outside linebacker, and Jimmy came up with like 6 tackles and 4 or 5 assists, and like 2 tackles for loss, and he played a heck of a ball game for us, backing up Cole Cummings in there. So, I mean, we may have to find some place for him to play this week a little bit more.
Let's talk about the kids who got in the second half, the kids who normally don't get to play. Shout-outs for them.
Well, I think that you got to look at Cameron Hovey, freshman back, carried the ball 6 times for 62 yards the second half, and actually scored a touchdown. And then, again, I thought that Keenan Warren, freshman quarterback, did a nice job of handling, doing things. I think that, well, Trey Mullins, I thought was a standout reserve player for us also as far as game is concerned. He played linebacker, and he plays on the offensive line, and he had an outstanding game also.
You're kind of in the driver's seat as far as the conference goes right now, 5-0 in the conference. At this point, you're at least assured a tie for the conference.
Right.
One more conference game yet to go. That's in 2 weeks at Eastern. But between now and then, next Friday night, you go up to Tipton. That's going to be a big game for you.
This is a real big ball game for us. They're 6-0. We're 5-1. They haven't had a close ball game except for Lafayette Central Catholic. They beat Central Catholic 21-17. That's the only close ball game they've had, and they got a lot of good quickness, especially on their defensive front. They're exceptionally quick. They got some good, outstanding people in the defensive backfield, and it'll be a test for us. But you know, hopefully we'll be up to the challenge, and we just got to try to keep things rolling. That's
Sheridan Blackhawks head coach Bud Wright. Coach, thank you very much
Well, thank
for
you.
joining us tonight. Great victory this week, and hopefully we can come back with another great victory against Tipton on Friday night. And the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show will continue after these messages from our sponsors.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Oh, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street signs and banners conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating their 25th year in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors, Greek's Pizza, the official pizza of the Hamilton County Coaches Show. And Coach Alfeld was just out in the green room enjoying some of it. Is it up to its normal good quality?
Man, there's nothing like Greek's Pizza. Keeps me coming back week after week, and Brad and of course Jim, and Perry. So it's always a good time here.
Well, Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street here in Noblesville. You can dine in, you can take it out with you, order ahead, call 317-773-4444. Other sponsors include Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, Bill Clifford for Sheriff, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. Coach, there isn't a whole lot that can be said. Unfortunately, the Royals ended up on the short end of a 30-10 game against conference rival Zionsville out there in the Eagle Stadium Friday night.
Yeah, we were really hoping to show a little bit better on Friday than we did. Had an opportunity to possibly get a second consecutive win after making some strides and some progress against Westfield, and took a step forward in some regards, but took a step back in a lot of regards too. Our offense moved the ball. We were over 300 yards total offense for the first time this year. Moved the ball really well, but when it came time in the red zone, miscues and turning the ball over ultimately kept us out of the end zone. So first drive of the game, just put together a real nice drive, about a dozen plays. Got down to the 11-yard line, and then on a first down play, had a quarterback running back exchange, a read type of a play. Ball goes on the carpet, they've got it, so it turned us away there, and that wasn't a forced error, that was a snap and a give error. So unforced error, can't have that. Could have gone up 7-0 right there, or at worst case 3-0. Defense came out and did a good job at the beginning of the game. I felt we let a big one hit us for a 51-yard touchdown on the fourth series, but 5 of the first 6 series for Zionsville we made them punt. So we let our offense hang around a little bit, try to get some things going. About 2.5 minutes, I think, to go before the half. We had the ball again deep in their territory down around the 10-yard line. We throw an interception with about 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the half, and again, that's something that we could have tied the ball game right there. Defense has got to come out then a seventh time, and we got to answer the bell, and we got to get off the field and get a stop right there, and we allow them to go 80 yards in 5 or 6 plays. So they march right down 14-0 now. So, you've squandered 2 opportunities in the red zone. Defense didn't answer the bell there after the turnover. So we come out, about 45 seconds left to go, right before the half, and offensive, we decided we're gonna gamble a little bit. We're gonna try to move the ball down the field, get a kick or for a field goal or a touchdown. And we throw an interception. So, that's on us as a coaching staff. We made the decision to try to move it down the field and try to get some points before the half. And, ultimately we didn't take care of the football, throw a pick 6, and now you're down 21-0. And that's where the wheels kind of came off. Those last 2 minutes right before the half is where we really lost it.
Yeah, two interceptions and 2 fumbles. Now, fumbles, fortunately, only one of them was lost, but big difference in the game for you.
Well, we didn't take the ball away either. So defensively, we like to try to bail out our offense. If our offense does turn the ball over, we can equal those out by taking the ball from the other team. And second consecutive week where we failed to take the ball away. So that's something we've got to continue to address and get better at. But we had some good things. I felt like our offensive line was blocking well. We got some of the running game going a little bit better than we had in the past. Cody Sparks got the ball distributed around. We had some good receiving output. I thought Zach Boyle did a really nice job. But ultimately we had big penalties, wipe out big plays. We had a 38-yard pass come off the board down to the 10-yard line that could have been a third opportunity to score in the red zone. That gets wiped out by a penalty. It's just things, untimely miscues and untimely turnovers, ultimately against a good team like Zionsville, any team in our conference.
Yeah,
those things are going to get you beat.
You just can't make mistakes.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed there were 4 penalties against the Royals, a total of 55 yards, and sometimes it's not as much the number and the yardage, it's just plain and simple the timing, and it seems like they always come at a bad time.
I don't think there's a good time to turn the ball over to have penalties, but that's something that we've addressed this year, and we've really worked hard at it, and our kids are staying positive, and our kids understand the importance of taking care of the football and the importance of being disciplined, not jumping off sides, getting hands inside on blocks, those kinds of things, and we're going to work hard to contribute or to continue to improve on those things, and it started tonight. We had a good practice, and we just got to move forward and keep getting better.
How's Jackson Sweeney coming along?
Jackson's doing well. Jackson ran the ball really well, I thought, on Friday night.
I had him for 85 yards Friday.
Yeah. Got a little fatigued. Had a little issue with it was so hot, and we're really leaning on him, and it was just a little fatigued there at the end of the game, and was unable to finish it out. But Jackson will be back and continuing to lead us going forward. So yeah, nice job, and just another weapon that we have at our disposal there on offense that can help us get going.
Malik Sims with 13 carries, 58 yards.
Malik's done a really nice job in Jackson's absence, and even as a 1-2 punch with Jackson. Malik runs awfully hard. He's got good hips, good balance. I think he's going to continue to do great things for us this year.
Overall, 21 for 44 for Sparks for 211 yards.
Yeah, 211 yards. Under 50% accuracy is a bit concerning. He's had some drops, and he's going to continue to grow into that position as well. So ultimately, Cody's got a strong arm. He's going to continue to get better. We're going to keep working on taking care of the football and making good decisions with the ball, and he's going to be a good one. It's
one of the things. One of the things I noticed in reviewing the stats is receiver-wise, you guys went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 different receivers had opportunities in the game, and kind of mixing it up kind of helps.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about our offense. We're getting a lot of kids involved, and a lot of kids are getting the opportunity to step up and make plays, and that's what we've talked about all week, offensively and defensively, is that we've got to have guys that are going to step up and make plays. A lot of times we're in the right spot, 50-50 ball. We got to come up with that. So that's something we're continuing to work on. We're throwing out a lot of competition and things like that at practice, just trying to really make sure we're in position and we're getting after the other team and getting after the football. Those things got to continue to develop if we want to be successful to close it out.
We talked just a little bit about the defensive effort. Give me a couple defensive players of the game.
Well, Johnny May, we bounced him all over the place. We've had some injuries. Madison Norris, has been injured the last couple weeks, and we've been out without him. We've just had guys banged up in the secondary and up front. And Johnny's, one of those guys where he played outside linebacker, in my spot for the last 2 years as a sophomore and junior. Moved him inside linebacker with his dad, and that was going great. And Johnny was doing a really nice job there. And as soon as the need arises, we had Jack Boyd go down with a shoulder injury early in the season. So Johnny slid back out the outside backer to help in Jack's absence. And then we moved him back inside. And then Madison got hurt, and we had to move Sam linebacker down into defensive tackle. So now Johnny comes back out to Sam. So it's hard. It's been hard because he hasn't been able to get his feet under him, in one spot. But he's a team player and coach's son, and he's going to do whatever Dad asks him to do, and whatever we as a coaching staff ask him to do to be successful. And he did a really nice job at Sam for us on their wing, their tight end.
Well, one of the things I always admired with Johnny is, you've already said it, is you can have him inside, you can have him outside. He always seems to be at or near the ball.
Yeah, he's a really hard-nosed kid. He plays with good technique, he plays with good pad level, and he plays with good aggression. And that's something defensively we've got to get back to across the board. Johnny and everybody else on defense, we've got to attack. I felt like we sat back on our heels a little bit too much against Zionsville, and they do so much. They've got the trick plays and going for it on fourth down, and they have offense for days. I mean, I couldn't even begin to prepare them for everything they possibly could have seen. And I felt like we were a little tentative, and we got to get back to playing attacking Royals defense, and tonight was a good first step in that direction.
2 home games, then finish up at Brownsburg. But the most important thing coming up Friday night, the Millers come down from Noblesville to visit Reynolds Royal Stadium. How are you getting prepared for them?
Well, Coach Simmons and his staff do an excellent job. A lot of respect for their program, and Noblesville and Southeastern have had a history of being good friendly rivals over the years. So, they're going to come ready to play. Their coaching staff's going to have them ready to play, and they're a hard-nosed group of kids, and have been really, really impressed watching them on film. And they've got some youth in some spots, and they've been banged up, I think, with some injuries, and they're just continuing to get better. And we see them on film. We follow them. Their HCC opponent that they play the week prior is the one we always play next. So we've gotten to see them a lot, and I just think they're doing a fantastic job over there. And they're going to come ready to play, and they're going to come ready to knock us off. So we've got to be ready to match the challenge, and we've got to play good, sound football. We got to take care of the football, and we got to attack on defense. And if we do that, we'll give ourselves a shot.
That's Assistant Coach Matt Alfeld of the Hamilton Southeastern Royals. Coach, thank you for being here with us. The Hamilton County Coaches Show is presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. Earlier this afternoon, our own Perry Williams had a chance to catch up with Westfield head coach Jake Gilbert. Let's go to that interview right now.
Coach Jake Gilbert, the coach of the Westfield Shamrocks. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, Perry.
Kind of a tough night Friday night, right?
Yeah, we got our butts kicked. Brownsburg's excellent. They played really well. We had some fundamental issues defensively. I would say we tackled poorly, and we didn't cover as well, and then rushed the passer, a lot of things. But give credit to Brownsburg's offense that they were outstanding. And then offensively, we struggled there as well. Didn't run it as well. We threw 23 passes and completed maybe 13, but we didn't get a lot of yards per attempt, and just kind of struggled to beat man and stuff like that. But we'll back to the drawing board, and we'll get better.
Absolutely. That's the only way you can go, right?
Yes,
you got to get better after you lost. And what do you do? The kids. What do you think the kids took away from that ball game?
Sure. Well, we did play pretty well on special teams, and there were some potential momentum shifts that we just lost each one. So they scored right before the half. I always think that's a big deal, and that hurt us. And then we scored coming out. We on their first drive, we stopped them. We blocked a punt, scored. Then they fumbled. We had it in the red zone, but we came away with no points, and then they busted a 90-yard run. So that was like a 14-point swing, and we just didn't really recover from that. It could have been a much closer game right there in the third quarter, but instead it went the exact opposite way. So instead of a 1 to 2 score game, it got away from us pretty quick because of not handling the momentum.
It's not going to get any easier, you know that, Coach.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Fisher went and poked the bear and got
I don't think that's it's hard to say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think it's probably a good thing.
I don't think so, but that's okay.
But the one thing about it was, Avon actually, in that game against Fishers, I mean, that was a back and forth game. Ended up 35-28. But let's talk about, a little bit about Avon and what some of the things that the Westfield Shamrocks need to do on offense.
Well, I mean, we have to have some kind of running game. We can't average 3 yards a carry and beat anybody. And then passing, we're throwing it plenty. We threw it 31 times 2 weeks ago. We threw it 23 times this past week. It's just more of, like I said, we have to be able to beat man coverage, and our yards per attempt have to come up. And so we're hoping to have a receiver back, that our fastest player, hopefully that'll make a big difference, Pat Beam. Caleb Pettyjohn will be more in the fold, and his really his first game completely back this past week. I think that'll help. And we just got some other ideas of some things we need to do, but the biggest thing is just get better. The ball security has been great. We got to block better, and we got to execute better, in the passing game overall.
And the one thing about it is this is about the same as you faced this past week in Brownsburg. I mean, they have a balanced attack. They can go through the air and go through. And they have a pretty good running game. So let's talk about what you got to do defensively, because I know you said that there's some letdowns in that Brownsburg game. Yeah,
we didn't tackle very well, just fundamentally. So I would say first is we just have to improve fundamentally, and we've got to create some takeaways. This is the best offense I've seen in our conference in 7 years. So, they've got a Division I wide receiver, a Division I tailback, an awesome quarterback, another wide receiver who's terrific, third wide receiver who only comes in sometimes, who's extremely fast, and then 3 linemen who are 300 pounds plus. So every offensive player is back except for the tailback who's new, but like I said, is already a scholarship player. So they're very deep, experienced, and explosive on offense. So in terms of what we need to do, obviously we have to keep the ball in front of us and not give up the 70 and 80-yard bombs like they've gotten on everyone else, and we have to find a way to get some takeaways.
Yeah, because the one thing about it is, this Brownsburg and Avon, and now playing Avon, these are real good programs now. I mean, early on, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you thought, you could get a good chance of getting a win on those 2 schools, but now they're producing some great players and those type of things.
Well, I think Avon's been that way.
Yeah.
For a long time. Yeah. So ever since I've been in the conference, Avon's been that big bully. We've been able to beat them last year, been able to beat them a couple times. We're just got to step up and do it again.
All right, Coach. You go to Avon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big road game. So you feel pretty good about the team as far as their attitudes after the defeat with Brownsburg and now?
Sure. I mean, kids are resilient, and so
they handle it better than some adults.
Right? I think some of the adults think that the sky is falling, and winning 12 in a row seems like a lifetime ago. I think for some people, we didn't respond real well to losing Nate Freilich, our tailback, 2 weeks ago. Still struggling with that, obviously. But we'll get it figured out. We'll be okay. Our kids, their attitudes are great. This is the first time they've had adversity. All these guys who are first-time starters now, this is an opportunity for them to learn how to deal with that. So we'll be okay. I think, we have to put together a great week of practice, not a couple great days and then an average day and some things like that. So we're still getting some maturity issues ironed out, but all in all, resilient kids, hard workers, great kids, great attitudes. We'll be fine.
Well, that's good. What about how we doing on the rest of our program? Because I know here at Westfield you're building a total program. So how are those?
Travel team's undefeated, won the conference. 7th grade is undefeated. 8th grade's undefeated. Freshmen have lost once, but they're in first place in the conference, undefeated in the conference, and JV is undefeated and in first place in the conference. So varsity's 4-2, and that's the worst mark of all. So we're trying to catch back up with those undefeated teams.
That's good, and that's a good place to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate you taking time out, and good luck this week against Avon. I know it's going to be a tough one.
Absolutely, but I'm excited for the challenge.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thursday night, about 6:30, we'll be over at the Mill for varsity volleyball between the Noblesville Millers and the Hamilton Southeastern Royals. Then Friday night, Jim, Will, and the entire crew will be down at Hamilton Southeastern for the Hamilton Southeastern Noblesville football game. That game starts at 7 p.m. on Friday night. We'd like to thank you for watching the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other fantastic sponsors, Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, Bill Clifford for Sheriff, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. On behalf of everybody here at Hamilton County Television, I'm Brad Silbert. Good night.